Welcome to the Rock and Roll Show podcast. I'm here to share the magic of making and enjoying live music together with strangers and with friends, and to get to know my guests a little bit better through their experiences creating the music that we love to see and hear. I'm your host, Alex Gadd, and I do this because I love talking about music with people. Finding out what influences people bring to their music and how making music has affected them allows us to get to know and understand one another better. And also, hey, it's just fun talking about music anytime. My guest this week is Steven Gonza. You might know him better as Solar Steve from the mighty Connecticut hard rock band Inc. He's here today to talk about his latest project, a solo album of songs he's written over the years that didn't quite work for the band, so he's releasing them under his own name. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Steve, welcome to the show.
Alex, what's going on, man? It's a pleasure to be here again.
Great to see you again. Thank you. Yeah, as you note, you were with your brother on the show almost 2 years ago when we were talking about the band, and we will get into Ink later on, but I really want to talk to you tonight about your songwriting and these songs that you've released on it. The album's called Broken Wings. It's on YouTube right now, and we'll talk all about that. But I'd like to start at the beginning. We've known each other since we were 8.
Wow.
And going back a long time, so almost 50 years.
And you know what? That's the reason why I took this podcast, because man, we go way back, and I really enjoyed our first one. I like the way you run things. So, I got my special shirt on today for you.
I appreciate that.
Love
It
the way
looks good
fits.
on you. You make it look good.
Thank you so much for sending that to me. That's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want to go back to the beginning. When did you start writing songs? Because you are the primary songwriter for Ink, but you write other kinds of songs as well. When did you start writing songs?
Yeah, so great question. I think I started writing songs as soon as I started taking my first guitar lesson.
And that was in high school, right?
Yeah, so I would say, well, that's going way back, about 16, 17 years old. Taking a step back, I wanted to learn guitar because my brother Sal was always in the high school band. He would play with several players in my parents' basement, and I would just sit on the stairs and watch them. And they played everything from Zeppelin to Ozzy to Black Sabbath to Kiss, and I would just sit on the stairs, and my brother and I are very close. And he turned to me one time after one of his rehearsals, and he said, "Man, you're always at every rehearsal sitting on the stairs. Why don't you take up an instrument and I'll get you in the band?" And, that's all he had to say, because I was a younger brother, and I was hanging around with some really good players. Every single player that came into his basement was like this amazing Eddie Van Halen type, just constant, really good players. And so, look, my brother said, take up the guitar. And so, of course, once my brother said that, I just went and signed up for guitar lessons right in Stanford.
Yeah, with Gene Pino.
Exactly. And I'll never forget, I walked in and I said, "Listen, I don't want to be the next Eddie Van Halen. I want to know how to play some basic chords. So my goal is to get into my brother's band." He gave me the opportunity, right? And that's exactly what he did. He listened to me. He didn't get into the reading of music and stuff, which he wasn't too happy about. But you know what? I picked up pretty fast some of the basic chords. And my brother allowed me just to play some rhythm acoustic in the background of songs. I mean, we also, played some lighter songs. We played John Cougar Mellencamp, a lot of that stuff. And look, this is how I see it, Alex, when you get back to the question, is I feel that every good band, or every decent band, if you want to say, has a songwriter or a couple. I mean, the Beatles had 4 of them, But you know what? I think it's just in you and it has to come out, right? And that's the truth. So when you say, when did I start? I think the guitar connected with me because I'd learned some basic chords. And when I played these basic chord progressions, I just felt melodies, and to me, a lot of people are like, "Hey, I got a lot of poems, man. I wrote a song." That's not a song. To me, in my opinion, a song is a chord progression with a melody and lyrics. And that's a song, right? 100%. So it just came out. I mean, and my brother had all these band members over again to rehearse. They came home from college, whatever at the time, and because they were older than me. And I remember going in the basement and setting up early before they got over. And then when they were coming in to my parents' garage, and stuff. I had everything all set up, and I had an electric at the time, and I plugged in. And while they were setting up, I played a riff, like a chord progression riff.
Yeah.
And everybody just stopped and looked, and they were like, "What is that?" They liked it, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
this is just like a little riff song that I read. I got some lyrics to it and everything." And an amazing thing about it, they all couldn't wait to set up, and they started playing my song. And we ended up recording it in the studio and so on. So I think that, getting back to your question, I think that's what really started it, because I felt like, wow, these guys that I looked up to, like Eric Simeon was one of the guys that helped me play guitar when I was younger. But I looked up to these guys because they allowed me to give them my music, my material. They accepted it. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And my brother, of course, accepted it. And then all of a sudden, those guys went off to college, and my brother looked at me. He goes, "Do you have more of these songs?" And Alex, to be honest, it never stopped. I mean, I
Yeah.
just constantly started writing. I would record at the time, we didn't have cell phones, but I had a small recorder. I'd record, I'd give it to my brother. And the crazy thing about it is, even today, that's the exact same song process that we do. Is I'll write a riff. I always write the riff, and I hum a melody. It comes out on a phone or a recorder. Of course, maybe I might add a drum machine or something to make it sound a little heavier or whatever, depending on
Mhm.
where it goes. And then I give it to my brother. I give it to my brother. If he likes it, he puts his drum parts. And then, as far as ink concerned, Richie will come in and put his
Right.
bass parts in it. And then
Right.
it becomes something. But, they could also say, "We don't like it." And
Yeah.
that's fine too, because like I said, I have so many songs that I've written. It's okay when they say they don't like it. And that gets to
100%.
the whole other part of the conversation. Is some of these songs that never made the grade
Yeah.
are on this 22 track album that you've heard. I mean, I'm a songwriter. It's like, I don't really try to write hard. I write whatever comes out of my body.
Yeah.
And sometimes they come out very light, and I like them, but I archive them.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
that
they're not Ink songs.
they're not, I mean, they don't fit the genre. I mean, if
Right.
anybody listens to Ink, it is what it is. It's three guys, hard rock riff,
Yep.
Zeppelin meets Godsmack type,
Yep.
and it's all original. It's very raw. There's really no background singers. There's just me on a mic, and it's raw sweat, and that's Ink. But like I said, I also consider myself a songwriter before I was ever the front man of Ink. I
Right.
love the songwriting hobby better than any other hobby that I do with music. I mean, if anybody ever said to me, "What do you like best about Ink?" I love the fact that they're accepting my songs. At least some of them, right? But like I said, the genre. There's a couple I could mention that we played live a couple times, and after a while, we're like, yeah, everybody in the crowd seems to go to the bathroom, go get a drink when we play that song. It's too
Right.
light.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I don't have like an Adele voice where I can hit these high keys. So I think some of these love type softer songs are better suited for a female, and that's how I feel. And I think that's the segue into the whole songwriting thing. Is this album was really to showcase some of the songs that I wanted to take to a different level.
Yeah. Cool. Hold there, because I'm going to come
Yes.
back to that. There are a couple of questions. First of all, you just told us a story about the first song you wrote. What was that song? Because you did record it with Ink. Which
Yeah,
song
that's
was
so
that?
funny. I the other night I said to myself, you know what? I better remember the name of that song, and I do. It was called "Shed a Tear."
Okay.
And it wasn't too hard. It was more of a chord progression with an acoustic in the back. I probably should find the recording. But it was "Shed a Tear." It was, I'm going to name the guys. It was Mark Simeon on guitar. It was Eric Levine on bass. It was Sal on drums. And my cousin Vic was the singer at the time. That song was recorded in Stanford. And yeah, what a great time we had. It was just, went in there, just belted out one song. And it was the first time I was ever in a studio, first song I've ever written.
Yeah.
And I think that really launched the fact that I wanted to do more of it, because we got an exposure to a professional studio. It was not Carriage House. It was actually a studio. I'm going to say his name is Earl Valentine. He was just a small producer that had his own album out and stuff like that. I don't remember how I met him, but we connected, and I said, hey, I'm in this band. We have one original song that we want to try out in the studio. And And like I said, it was such an honor because I've always hung around with, I was always a couple years younger, right? So
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
was a freshman in high school, these guys were junior seniors, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just an honor that they accepted like my original music. And even to this day, like I said, I don't mind when Sal or Richie in Ink say, yeah, Steve, I'm not feeling it. It's fine because, oh my God, all the songs and albums that we've done with Ink, they gave thumbs up to all of those. And it was like a
Right.
great outlet for me to continue to do that. And it's still exciting for me to, believe it or not, Ink probably releases a new original hard rock song once a year.
Yep.
And now for someone like me, it's like buying a motorcycle and only riding it once a year.
Right.
I want to do more, and that's okay. I mean, everybody has families. We gig out with Ink, maybe if we're lucky, 4 times a year, showcases. And that's cool because, loading the stuff in and out, it gets a lot at our age. But the songwriting, it's like,
You could do that every day.
it's almost like telling a fisherman that he could only fish like a couple of days a year. I want to fish a lot, and they know that. So I think that's going to be the segue to this next conversation is why I even did something like this.
Yeah. I have a couple more questions.
Sure.
Famous question. Every songwriter gets it. It's always a different answer. You kind of described your process, but are you a music first, a lyrics first? Is it different every time? Is it the same every time? How do you write a song in
I,
terms of sitting down and I've got an idea? Is it lyrics first or is it music first?
Man, what a great question. I had a person ping me the other day and she said, I wrote this great song and it's on paper, but I want you to write the music to it. Right. That just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. I mean, first off, like I said, no disrespect to anybody, but to me, I describe a song as it's music with lyrics and a melody. To me, that you put those together, it's a song. If you write a poem, to me, that's not a song. That's a poem, right? So to answer your question, I have handicaps too. I mean, some people have handicaps that they can't even write a song, and that's fine, right? I think I can write a song. I mean, I think I've been pretty successful with Ink as hard rock. But as far as these other songs that I write, I think every single one of the songs that I write are always, it's the same time simultaneously. I've never written a song like just a melody in my head. I got to have my guitar in my hand. The guitar is the magic. And I think I said that when you initially said to me, how did you start songwriting? How did you know you were a songwriter? It came out because I played the guitar. I think the instrument brings it out, you know? So my process, I grab my guitar, I put headphones on usually, and I have a digital recorder. And I'll plug into that, get a nice reverb on my voice, and I will just, usually when I change strings on my guitar, something magical comes out of a riff. But the riff usually comes first. Now, since if I'm writing for Ink, right, I have to know how to play and sing it at the same time, and I have to tap dance too with my pedals, right? So the process for Ink, if we're going to talk about Ink, it's I write the riff, and then I just belt out a melody that I think fits.
And
And
that
the funny
melody,
thing
does it
about
have words or does it just noises
good
that
question.
match?
Usually, sometimes it just comes out as nonsense, but sometimes, most of the time, it is a phrase of lyrics. And then my problem is I record it like that, and then I go back and try to make sense of it. I'll put lyrics to make sense. And you know what? I grew up on Billy Idol. I still don't know what the frig he says half the time. So I get away with sometimes when it makes nonsense too. But the truth is, so here my process is simultaneously guitar riff, try to come up with a verse and then a catchy chorus. Usually the verse come out first, then a catchy chorus, and then I'll write the lyrics to make sure it makes sense. And like I said, phrasing is very important. If you're ending a verse or even a chorus, what, delivered to me or inside you or whatever it is, the phrasing and the syllables are the important thing for me. So
Yep.
my handicap is, unfortunately, I said no to that person that asked me. I said, I've never taken a poem and just try to make music to that. That's impossible for me. And I told him that. But know what I did tell her? I said, look, if you want, I could read your poem and get inspired by that, and I'm going to write a song about it, but it's not going to be your lyrics. She wrote the poem about her boyfriend leaving her, right? I mean, that's a theme. Matter of fact, a lot of the almost every song on my album is about a relationship, whether or not it's something you told me or my brother or
Yeah.
a cousin or a friend or just someone that passed. That's inspiring. But I guess to answer your question, there's really only one process that I have that's simultaneously playing and singing. And like I said, my handicap is I'm really not good at the cover thing. Like when people learn cover songs, I consider that like my handicap. It's like, I don't know how some of these guys do it. Some of my friends, I'll mention one of my favorite tribute bands, which is the UF Unforgettable Fire. When I
Hmm.
saw those guys play, my jaw dropped and I'm like, yeah, I'll never be doing that.
Yeah, they're
But
incredible,
look,
right?
and you know what? If you talk to those guys, they'll toot my horn and say, man, that guy can write a song.
Yeah.
So I have handicaps too. I think the only process I have is simultaneously, and here's one catch for you is that, after it comes out, it's either going to be good or bad because I don't think there's another melody for the song. Isn't it crazy? Like
Interesting. Like
sometimes,
that's it. Now I
well,
got it.
no,
That's the only one that'll work.
well, yeah. What'll happen is, and maybe this is a handicap too. I'll write something and I think it sounds really cool. And then all of a sudden I get exhausted. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I leave it on the recorder. I come back 2 days and I listen to it. I'm like, that sounds like shit, and I don't like it. And then I can't change it. I mean, the melody's stuck in my head. I know what I do. I archive it and then maybe I'll come back to it. And, believe it or not,
Yeah.
those are some of the songs that I came back to. I'll show you what I
Good.
did.
Well, we're going to talk
But
about that.
yeah, but I always like to, usually when it comes out fresh, hopefully I could keep it. And then I decide if it's something I think that's going to fit ink or maybe go on to one of my solo projects.
Cool. So you have the new record. It's called Broken Wings. That's the title of the collection. Broken Wings is one of the songs. I believe it's song number 7 on the collection. I heard about 16 of the songs, I think. They're all women singing, and they're all piano songs.
Yeah. So let's talk about that
So,
a little bit.
it's amazing. It's totally
Thank you.
different for you. I have so many questions. The first question is, how do you write all these gorgeous piano-based songs with strings when all you do is play guitar? So you're transferring the song from guitar, acoustic, and your voice to a woman's voice and piano, and you're doing the arranging yourself, correct?
Absolutely. I could tell you that I have two outlets. All right. There's the Ink 3-piece band, which is the hard rock that are going to play live and show you everything we got. And it's just raw rock and roll. And then you have my recent album that just came out, which is completely done in Suno Studios. Okay. And I'll
Okay.
talk to you a little bit about Suno Studios, which is amazing. It's almost like I took these raw songs that I wrote, arranged, did all the melodies, did all the singing, did all the acoustic playing, and pretty much almost like I sent it out to Adele, Lady Gaga, and all of these amazing musicians and came back with a polished song. And that's what
Yeah.
Suno Studio does. I could load songs in there. I could split them and slice them. I could take vocals out, take mic vocals out, put a woman's voice in. And it's absolutely amazing. And man, it blew me away what it can do. It's funny thing about it is I said to myself, you know what, maybe I'll wait a couple of years and I'll release my raw ones because there are people that know the songs on this album, like the Marin song, or even the song Promised You. There's another one, Promised You.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, oh my God, and Promised You was done by Ink, by the way, when we first started.
Okay.
But there's a song on there that was before Ink, which the band was called Fluger. And one of the songs was You and Me. It's, I think, the second to the last track. And again, those songs, I could send you those recordings and you'll be like, wow, how much they change. So like I said, I could take an acoustic guitar that I play, I throw it into Suno and I could say, make it a piano and it'll do my arrangements and it will completely transpose it into a piano. I mean,
Amazing.
I put in a Spanish guitar in it. It turns it into a Spanish guitar. It's just mind blowing. I mean,
It's
it literally is
mind-blowing.
like, I played Prince for a day where Prince sent a song to Sinead O'Connor to sing, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? I don't have Adele's number, Lady Gaga's number, Amy Lee from Evanescence. And you know what? I mean, Alex, just taking one more step back is if you went to my YouTube channel, you will find songs. I would
Yeah.
say a handful of them that prior to me getting introduced to Suno Studios, which you can do this magic
Yeah.
with my songs, I did like hire some female singers. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, Alex, it took 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, first I got to like send them the song. They got to like the song, right? Some that didn't even want to be involved, want to be paid, you
Yeah.
know, all right. And that's fine. You know, I've paid for singers to do songs for me before because
Sure.
I'm not Adele. But then they would come over, they didn't like how it sounded. I'd have to re-record it. They're afraid of the camera. They don't want to be videoed. I love to do video of some of these songs. It just got a lot. It was a lot of time. I was doing all of it. I was recording it all. And honestly, the recordings I think were okay because of my
Yeah.
studio, not because of their voice, because of the studio. And then after that, I'd have to, you know, shoot a video. The lady or girl would have to come to my house. It's a lot of time. So this Suno studio really just enhanced my ability to not have to hire anybody, don't have to worry about anybody learning my song. I mean, it just amazing. It follows, it tracks your melody, it tracks your phrasing. Yeah, it's actually amazing. Matter of fact, if you listen, if I sing you the lyrics, sometimes it does not pick up on the exact lyrics, but you could go into Suno and type in your lyrics again, and it'll do it over.
Yeah. Just preparing for this interview, I went and wrote a song in Suno yesterday in like 4 minutes. It's an insanely stupid song. Like I wasn't going for a song like you were. I was just trying to do it so I'd be familiar with it. And it was crazy how easy it was.
I mean, look, this is how I see it. And like, you know, I'll say it over and over again. There are going to be people that are against Suno Studios. All right. And that's fine. Guess what? Ink is playing Friday, May 1st. You want to see three humans sweat and raw, and there's everything that you can, it's all real. There it is. But if you want to hear some of my songs where they're piano played and sung by a professional Lady Gaga type, which I love, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm a
right on.
huge Lady Gaga fan. You know, I'm a big Adele fan. I mean, I fell in love with Adele the first time I heard her voice. But guess
Yeah.
what? Unfortunately, I don't have her phone number, you know? And that's how I want my song to sound.
Yeah.
You know? And here's the funny thing. There's some people that, like I said, have heard some of the songs that are on the album with the Adele type of girl. I just call it the Adele type of girl. It's not Adele, but it's Adele type
Right.
because they do sing amazing. Whoever that model is, that model voice. But some people said to me, I like your version better. Fine. You pick what you want. I mean, first off, I'm not selling it in my songs. I've never made $1 on anything I've ever written. It's a hobby, right? And, you know, here's my analogy. You know, I mentioned fishing before, but some people like to fish. But guess what? They have new technology today where they could have these sonar systems or apps that could figure out where the fish are, what the temperature of the water is. Where now there are people that'll say, wow, that's cheating. Well, not really. You could go with your friends and sit on a boat and just drink beer and don't catch any fish all day if you want. That's fine. You could do that. That's the raw way of doing it. Or you could get some technology to help your hobby and have more fun and catch a bucket full of fish. That's how I see it. I like doing this. I don't want to waste these songs. And I felt it was great to use the technology that's out there. And I found out that Paul McCartney's actually using it now too. Isn't that funny?
Oh, that's great.
But
Well,
I
if
think
he's
he
doing
uses
it,
it a different way. I mean, like, for example, what he'll do is he'll throw his songs in here to figure out a different part and then he'll learn the part.
yeah.
I mean, it's a different
Well, that's
way.
because he can play every instrument. That's
Absolutely.
the difference.
I mean, look, if I could, you know, I tried piano and it just didn't work for me. I think piano is just so elegant, romantic. I did have a piano player do a couple of my songs, which worked out very good. It's a very long process, you know. And like I said, that 22 song album, dude, I did that in a weekend.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. Really was. I mean, I had to tweak things. I've always wanted to get Pro Tools, but if you work with Suno Studios, it's very simple. You could take stems, you could extract. I'm just using this new thing that I record my voice, and then it could model and help my voice out, which is really cool. I like that as well. I mean, let's be honest, you know, for how many years? 30 plus years, they've had drum machines,
Yeah.
right? Everybody got mad when drum machines came out, but all the DJs were using them. And then auto-tune. Let's talk about auto-tune.
I don't
Automation.
think you need to apologize at all, in my
Yeah,
opinion, because you do authentic, real, human made stuff regularly, but you have
absolutely.
these other songs that you can't possibly
Yeah,
get to the way you want to hear them. So you
absolutely,
use the
Alex.
tool to get them to
Yeah,
sound
and
the way
it's
you
my
want them
choice.
to.
And
And it's
it's
your
my choice to
song.
do it. And you know
Right.
what? Like I
And
said,
you're not lying to anyone and saying,
no,
this is
no.
my daughter,
I
this
mean,
is my cousin, this is my niece. You're not doing that.
Alex, you know what? I'm going to say this. I swear I wouldn't say it, but the people that are going to get upset about it can't write a song to begin with. They're all my songs, and this is the way I wanted them to sound. It's just another outlet for
It's
me.
just a tool.
The truth is, there's 22 songs on there, and if anybody wanted to grab headphones and listen to an hour, I'm almost guarantee that you're going to connect to a couple of those melodies because I think they're pretty catchy, and I don't think they'd be as catchy me singing it. I mean, some people disagree; they like my raw voice on it, but I'm getting older too. I don't think I sound as good. And look, anybody wants to hear the raw stuff, let me know.
That's beautiful. All right, I have a couple other questions
Yep.
for you. Why did you pick Broken Wings as the title track? You have 22 pretty incredible songs.
That's so funny. If you listen to the album, it is a very it's more of a sad. It's definitely a romantic type breakup. I mean, let's face it. I'll say it. I was, and I know you have been too. Maybe we could connect on this. But I went through a very hard divorce years ago. We're
Mhm,
talking 20 odd years ago.
mhm.
So I've always said to myself, man, I got enough songs out of that to last me a lifetime. All right. So there is a lot of songs on there that are about heartbreak because I've
Yep.
been through it and I know what it's like. But you know what? You really think about a lot of rock and roll songs, even Ink hard rock songs. I mean, everybody connects to a heartbreak.
Yeah.
So I think Broken Rings came from that. Um, I will say, and I'll repeat that not all songs are just about my relationships. All right. They're about other people. I don't want to get into too much detail, but there's at least 4 songs on there about people that have passed away. And, those are things that inspire you. They always say that something that hits you hard.
Mhm.
My divorce hit me very hard. I've been through other relationships too, where it could really um, turn you inside. And I think that's how things have to come out. And they just come
Yeah.
out like that. But, I've had somebody approach me saying, man, what is this about? Is something going on with your current marriage? I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with me. That I'm very happy in my marriage. I said, it has to do with someone that told me that story.
Right. And that's what
Somebody,
good songwriting is getting the influences wherever you can get them. Doesn't have to only be
yeah,
self-confessional, autobiographical songs.
my buddy that's a touring drummer, I won't mention his name, but he went through a really rough time. And you know what? I get inspired like that, man. I
Yeah.
get inspired. Like I say, you know what? Let me go downstairs. Then I go downstairs and I strum and something comes out. And sometimes it just doesn't sound good, But
Hmm.
like I said, the funniest thing is sometimes I think it sounds really good. And then I come back the next day and I'm like, oh my God, that is awful.
Yeah, but having said that, you then archive it and you've gone back and found
I
some of these
have.
22 songs were those songs that 10 years ago you said, I don't like it. I'm going to
Well,
archive it. And
Alex,
now bing, bang, boom, it's on the record.
an Ink song called 4 Long Days, it's a breakup song. And it when I wrote that initial riff, I took it to the guys and they liked it and we played it at rehearsal for a couple weeks. And then I remember coming to the next rehearsal after a couple weeks and saying to them, guys, I'm just not feeling this song anymore. They were like, no, no, we like it. We like it. Guess what? We can't we can't take it out of our set. Our
Yeah.
fans like get pissed off. So it goes to show you that sometimes I just don't know either.
Right.
You
I
don't
mean,
you don't know
all
what
you are
you're
is a songwriter,
yeah, you
you
don't
can only guess what your audience is going to
know.
react to.
That and then there's songs, and boy, Sal could definitely attest to this. We we like to keep 12 to 15 songs in the ink set. That's the most that our memories could memorize in a night.
Yeah.
And 15 songs is enough for us, right? But there are songs that we're like, wow, this one's going to go over really well. And then we play it live and we're like, Nobody really like, so you just don't know, Alex. You got to throw it at them to see what it's like. So that's what I'm doing with this 22 song out. I threw it out there, let all the comments come in. I mean, the truth is, I'll probably get 600 to 1,000 views, the most on my solo stuff. Ink will get more because we have more fans connected to the website. But I'm out there just having fun, and hopefully I'll inspire somebody that really likes the song. And I get a lot of that. I'll get some diehard fans that'll say,
Yeah.
man, I really like track number 2 or 3. And then I'll send them the lyrics and hopefully it connects with them.
I'm going to put the link to the YouTube album.
Thank you.
Are you going to release the record on Apple Music or Spotify at any point?
You know, Alex, probably not. YouTube's usually my thing, you know, because it's a lot of work to do those things. I can't say that I'm too connected with all those other platforms. So YouTube was I said, you know what, let me just put these on YouTube. So that's why I made the cover and
Yeah, it's
every
cool.
time
It's
every
great.
time the song changes, there's the title. You know, it's free. I like to go inside the credits portion, and I always put lyrics if I have them. But in this case, there was a list of songs, and I just put the times. I didn't notice that they're highlighted, and you could click and go through. But one thing I did notice is an hour is a long time. I think one thing that I probably would do differently is down the road is maybe do like a couple songs at a time release, because people are not
Right.
going to listen to an hour unless, you know, I always say grab your headphones, because it's definitely something for a nice rainy day or something.
Yeah,
You know?
right on. I think it's really exciting, and I love that you're stretching out, and you're so absolutely unafraid to not just be the guy from Ink, but be yourself and
Thank
have
you.
all the different multitudes that come
Yeah.
out of you, man.
Hey, look, I mean, I took this podcast because I wanted to showcase my songwriting, and that's what this is
Yes.
all about. You know, people could say, "Oh, well, you're using Suno Studios." Look, I'm showcasing my songs, and if you don't like that outlet, that's fine. Come see Ink Friday, May 1st.
Right on.
If not, you know, or like both, whatever you want
And
to
you
do.
can find
Let's-
Ink's music on YouTube as well. You can see all your songs
Absolutely, yeah.
for
And you
Ink.
matter of fact, Ink is probably going in the studio late May with a new
Okay.
single. And again, look, we'll admit, Ink's a type of band we play a few times a year at showcases. We'll make, $600-700 at the gig. You know what we do with it? We save it and we put it right back into the studio. Yeah, we we make shirts for people, give them free shirts. But Alex, it's never been a revenue driver for us, and that's
Right. It's a
fine.
passion project, man. I
It's a
love it.
passion, and we love putting the money back into the band. We just record some cool songs and we'll do a video. We love to do songs via video. I think it's more exciting. And I always told the guys, I said, man, if I had $100,000 that I could put into like this stuff and quit my job, that's my calling. I love doing videos. I love
Yeah.
doing videos. And there's some other video technology that I've been fooling around with. So that's going to be fun if I can incorporate some of that into Ink.
Cool. All right. So Ink's playing again May 1st.
May 1st, right in Milford, our hometown. It's at Anthony D's, playing with a close friend band of ours, Epic. Ink will go on at 9 p.m. sharp. We're the first band out. We always like to be, it's our show, but we will go on first. We just like to do that. We'll play an hour set of 100% all original. And it's going to be awesome. I can tell you the last time we played there, the next day I had some people call me and they said, was that you guys? There was cars up the street. I said, yeah, we draw pretty good because we don't play out that much. So when we play, we have a decent following. And if we have, a couple hundred people that come out, it's going to be packed. Anthony D's probably holds a couple hundred, right?
Right.
So yeah, we'll mob it. And then plus we have another band with us.
Yeah.
Epic is from Milford as well. Our
Okay.
good friend Steve Savo is the drummer of that band. And yeah, we're going to pack it again. It's Friday, May 1st. And the coolest thing is I have, I'm doing a motorcycle. It's my other hobby. I have a
Yes.
motorcycle meet. All motorcycles from all the United States are coming on Saturday, but they're coming a day early because the meet is Saturday. And some of them are coming all the way from like Texas. So that's the crazy thing is they
Yeah.
know that I'm in the band because, Facebook is,
Right.
just connects people. I mean, if it wasn't for Facebook, how would we tell our fans what we're playing? But since I have motorcycles, this specific brand of motorcycle, which is the Honda Fury. It's a chopper. Since all of these motorcycles are coming from all over the United States, they come a day early. So they always said to me, "Hey man, why doesn't your band play the meet, the
Yeah.
festival that we're going to be at?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that, but if you want to come to a show." So I booked the show on the Friday. So guess what? We're going to have like 40 motorcycles and then our
Awesome.
following on top of it. So it's going to be a busy night. And
That's
I
great.
think the owner from Anthony Gage is going to appreciate that.
All right, last question for you because I want to let you go.
Okay.
If someone's going to check out one song from Broken Wings, what's the song other than Broken Wings you point to and say that's the song that encapsulates everything I was trying to do?
Oh, wow. I really like Center of Me. I put a video to that one, by the way, and it's out there
Yeah,
on YouTube, right?
I saw it.
But I got people saying, "Wow, great guitar work." Well, keep in mind, I did the rhythm part and I put in, I want a Spanish guitar. So the lead was a Spanish guitar.
Right.
Suno did that. But the amazing thing about that song, Center of Me, that was an old Ink song. And we used to do that full band. So I put that entire song into Suno and it came up with that. And I don't know, I think that the melody and the chorus to me is just one of the catchiest songs on the album. To me.
All right. Well,
So
let's check that out.
Center of Me.
Feel the pain when she chopped her body times not for free. All the days that she hid her body I cannot foresee. Clear the ways, everything is turning, I cannot be me. She cannot be found in all the paranoid screams. I don't remember what you need. Better to leave your heart to bleed. Better to leave your heart to bleed in the center of me.
All right, that's it for today's conversation. My guest has been Steven Gonza, and his first full-length solo album, Broken Wings, is available now on YouTube. I'll put the link to the album in the episode description, so please check that out. Thanks so much for being here, Steve.
Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is the second time I've done this, and you are a real class act. I love how you run your show. You could always have me on. I'm always going to be writing songs. So when the next one comes out, I'll make sure I connect with you. Thank you so much.
Let's do it again. And I want to come up and see you and your brother this summer, so I'm looking forward to that.
We would love to have you up. Come see the studio.
Yeah, I would love it. I'm going to make that happen. All right. And to our viewers, thank you very much. As always, if you like what you heard today, I'd appreciate it if you would like and either subscribe or follow to make sure you get notified about every new episode. And please tell your friends. Also, a reminder that I release a playlist for every episode, but this week's playlist is already been released by Steve, so go look for Broken Wings on YouTube. Additionally, I want to know what you think. Please leave me a comment. I'll try to respond to every one of them. The Rock and Roll Show podcast is a World Highway Media production. I'm your host, Alex Gadd, and until next time, remember that life is short, so get those concert tickets.